I'm Rick Comrie, and I'm here today to offer you a new direction and a new path. Before I begin, I'd like to thank all of the doctors, nurses, and all the frontline workers for keeping us safe in our community. What a wonderful job they've done. Please join me in a round of applause to say thank you. I'd like to thank the Philippine community for having us here today, and also for their contribution to the betterment of the city of Edmonton. It has been enormous. That we must support democracy, and we must say no to big government. We must say no to big government. Big government and its influence on our municipality defies democracy. It's your voice that matters, and it's your voice that needs to be heard. To define wants versus needs in our society is important. That is part of my platform. We must moderate change together. We can do it. Your voice matters, and I'm listening. Crime in Edmonton is preventable. Safer city streets are achievable. It's the forgotten taxpayer that has carried the burden of misplaced federal policy. Crime, expenditures, debt, taxation, unemployment, business failures, homelessness, substance abuse, and suicide have been its effect. The forgotten taxpayer, I want you to know as your mayor and the Philippine community that I am listening, and your voice matters, and that it must be heard. We must lessen the blow to the taxpayer and moderate change.
Thank you so much.
My name is Rick Comrie. Vote for me on October 18th, and I will support the Philippine community that your voice matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Edmonton is facing a homeless crisis compounded by the pandemic. Short-term and traditional housing is becoming more expensive. What is your commitment for providing housing for everyone?
Traditional housing is becoming more expensive because of misplaced policy. We're spending our money in the wrong areas. Therefore, your taxation will increase. I ask the audience, the hard-working Philippine community, do we need an LRT? Define wants versus needs. We're supporting LRT through funding, through your tax dollar. Is it a need, or is it a want? Or is it being pushed upon us by federal policy? Federal policy is pushing upon you a world you cannot afford. The money being used for an LRT could be used for the homeless. It could be used for substance abuse. It could be used to fight crime. I contend that misplaced federal policy is impacting our world immensely. And we must say no to big government. We must. The cost to the taxpayer, supporting the homeless, collaborating with Medicine Hat and the Homeless Association of Canada, and communities and associations like that who are having great successes. And that's one of our visions. If I was to be the mayor, is we would have a greater focus. But more importantly, we would decrease the spending. Has been an issue. The Edmonton Chamber of Commerce, the Canadian Federation of Independent business association groups have told the mayor, the current mayor in the city of Edmonton, that the spending cannot continue. That was said 5 years ago. Today, governments are asking you to tighten your belt and cut back and change your lifestyle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Comrie.
While governments have gone on to spend excessively. As mayor of the city of Edmonton, we would decrease expenditures and refocus on what's needed in our society.
What do you believe the Edmonton community needs right now? Everybody wants to stand out and be different. What sets you apart from the other candidates?
That's a great... Is this working? Can you tell me?
Yes, Lord.
That's a great question. What sets me apart? I'm going to stand up here, and I'm probably standing alone. But I tell you that if we continue down the road of destruction that's put before us, it gets worse from here. It doesn't get better. We must alter our path that perpetuates society's issues. What are those issues? Crime is on the increase. Business failure, unemployment, suicide, mental illness, business failure. This relates to you, taxations. Where can they go? They can only go up if we continue on this path. So I stand here today saying no to federal policy that's being pushed upon us. The current mayor in the city of Edmonton has an alliance with the federal government, and that has impacted us in a negative way. But I stand here to tell you that I recognize it, and I may stand alone. Or do I stand alone? Maybe the people in this room understand that we need a mayor that will stand for us, not for the federal policy. Because federal policy is taking us down a long, dark, pothole-filled road with no promise and no light at the end of the tunnel. Do I stand alone? On October 18th, you'll have a chance. But I say we must depart from federal policy and we must look after our own, and that's you, the Philippine community. It's all of us. I'd be proud. My family's journey began here in early 1900s. Business owners, just like you, worked hard. But today I come home with not much money in my pocket. My world is changing too quickly, too dramatically. And it's federal policy that's doing it, and I say we stop it. On the lighter side, I'd love to be your mayor because I would stand in support of the Philippine community and everyone in the city of Edmonton, that if we would have promise and hope, and at the end of the day, we would have something to say for it.
Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you for that answer.
I just want to say thanks to the Filipino community once again for hosting this. It's just wonderful, and I know how hard you work. My cousin owns a carpet and flooring business, and his wife, Lanny, was born in Taytay, just outside Manila. And they are committed to employing almost specifically the Filipino community. And I'm just so proud because they're great people, many of which are here today. Great people. I've entered this race to give you an option, to give you a direction, to give you leadership. We cannot continue on the path we're on now. There is a formula to a successful municipality. It involves the recirculation of monies to stay inside the community. By supporting big government, it has been an enormous gamble. An enormous gamble. And I think we can agree the city of Edmonton, like other municipalities, the province of Alberta, have been hit very, very hard. There is a way we must be able to evaluate the success of a municipality. The fight against crime, business failure, unemployment, homelessness, debt, taxation, suicide, substance abuse. How do we gauge success in a municipality? I'm Rick Comrie. Vote for Rick Comrie for mayor on October 18th. It's been a pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.